Welcome back to SportsLine. Don't forget Robby Stanley from 102.5 The Game will join us at the bottom of the hour, talking some Preds hockey and a little bit of Titans football as well. Speaking of Titans football, head coach Mike Vrabel is looking for yet another win over the Colts as they come to Nissan Stadium this Sunday. The second of two meetings between these two teams. The Titans, of course, won the first game in Indy. Here's head coach Mike Vrabel speaking today before practice.
Good morning, Mike.
Hi, Teresa.
Mike, of the list of things to do, how near the top of the list is cutting back on the explosive plays?
At the top of the list. That's, certainly something that showed up, and we have to be better at it. Changes field position, changes momentum. Got to make them earn everything.
Fixing that, communication, what are some of the specific, how do you try to get those cleaned up?
We talked about this, before the break, and you try to identify, is it a communication? Is it alignment? Is it a bust? A mental error? Did they just beat you? Or, did they scheme you up? So, it's a combination of all those things. Missed tackles.
Dennis Kelly still looked like the guy who played for you a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job. I got a lot of respect for Dennis and what, he did here. And, obviously known him for a while. So, he went in and looked like he took advantage of his opportunities.
How about some of the protection issues that you guys had leading up to the bye? Are there some things that you looked at you feel you could fix from that perspective?
Try to block better. I think that'd be the first place to start.
How do those things tie into
Clark, from LaRaven Clark in his time here? Have you seen, get any kind of an eval on him or seen him improve in his time? Yeah,
I think he's understanding, what we're trying to do. It's guys, they're working hard. Those players that we get here mid-season, they're working hard. The coaches are meeting with them a lot. But what you find is that you're just limited on what you can do. You're in pads, once a week, if you're lucky. So I know he's working hard. We're evaluating him. We're trying to, identify all those players that can help us in some capacity. Get them caught up to speed mentally, but then also, physically and in the execution of what we're doing and terminology and the speed of things and how they happen.
Run game's obviously still a foundation for you, Mike, but it's not as productive as it's been in the past. Is that something that you looked at during the bye week?
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of good evidence of what we want it to be. And then obviously some of the non-efficient runs, and hopefully, that we can break a few. I think that's kind of probably been the difference when you look at it overall, statistical average or what it may be. But, we're close, and I know that, we're gonna hit one of those and, hopefully try to, continue to get explosive gains there.
Colts ran a lot of no huddle against the Jags. How tough and taxing can that be on a defensive front, and how much does it hinder your substitution patterns?
Well, if you're conditioned, it doesn't really affect it a whole lot. You'd like to try to be in condition and understand, what's required of you. The substitution, I think you have to, be smart, make sure that, they're standing over the ball when they sub. Whether that's going to second. I mean, there were times they went on the ball after an incomplete pass. So, that's how they wanted to operate that last week. We'll see how they want to operate this week.
What do you think of how some of their young receivers are starting to emerge, like Alec Pierce, Pittman, and those guys?
Well, they're big targets. They, they're physical. They're physical at the top of their routes, and we'll have to do a good job, defending that. Campbell showed up. Certainly the tight ends got great length. So those are all things. Each week is a different. 1 week you're playing some guys, maybe Samuel and McLaurin, and then back, that have a skill set, and then on to the next week where you have to get ready for, different players with different skill sets.
As you prepare for this team, how do you weigh what they've done for a couple of years versus last week when they do a heavy pivot into the passing game? How do you weigh your preparation on what you're going to see?
Well, I think we have to be prepared. for things that they've done against us in the past, things that they've tried to, modify and change and figure out ways for them to move the ball, which is what they did last week. So, a lot of the preparation is going to be on, some of the things that they've done well recently and the things that they did well against us that we'll probably see again unless we correct it.
Red zone's typically regarded as the more difficult place to work. Getting there generally viewed as easier. You guys have kind of to flip that. How do you get there
more often? Yeah, get there more often and try to continue to score touchdowns. I think that's just, getting into drives. We've got to, when we're able to get into drives and again, complement the plays that we're running, we usually, more times than not, go down and make those scoring drives. We just too many 3-and-outs, and again, we've talked about this. You're going to have some X plays. You're going to have some third down conversions, and you're going to have to avoid the critical mistakes and the critical penalties. That's how you move the ball into the red zone.
How much of it is first down for you in the second half in keeping those drives going? Is that the down that's really been setting you back?
I think that's part of it, just trying to keep, stay out of 3rd and long and make sure that we're efficient and that the plays that we're calling, are complementing the stuff that we're doing earlier. It's just, to me, it's really just about making sure that we're all on the same page offensively, that the call's getting in there, and being able to adjust to some of the things that may happen in the second half and being ready for them.
Mike, when you first bring in Stonehouse, what did you see in him that allowed you to be comfortable replacing a pretty accomplished punter here? And then also, how do you think that's played out so far this season?
Well, I'll answer for, I thought it's played out really well. I don't think that Stoney had his best game, against Washington. I think we can punt better, the last time out. He knows that. But I would say up until then, I think he's been able to flip the field, and we figured out how to cover him. We got a pretty good net average. But I think, like with any other player in position, you try to focus on how they've improved. Basically what their potential looks like. How much of that have they reached? Are they continuing to improve? For a punter, ball placement, hang time, operation. Those were things that I think we evaluated, and he continued to get better. I don't think that the competition was too much for him, and that's how we came to that decision.
Had a good record with the
Is snap to kick a good number for you with him?
As far as get off time? Yeah, I think I don't think that's been an issue. I think that sometimes his, maybe the steps, I think that there was one or two where, we probably walked off, close to the wing, and I think the wing could have been, better, but, I don't think that that's been an overall issue.
You guys have had a good record with the long rest since you've been here. What do you credit? Any things in particular that you feel like you guys have done well, whether it's preparation or extra rest or anything like that's contributed to that?
I think the extra rest certainly helps. I don't think it ever hurts, but it comes down to execution. It comes down to, the game on Sunday. If Monday was any indication, I thought we practiced with good speed and looked like that we were, rested. I'm hopeful that it'll look the same today.
How's Amani feeling? And does he start back on the concussion?
No, he's passed through the protocol, so he should be, good to go.
With DeNico Autry, is there anything that you've learned different about him just since he's come here and been here for this year and a half?
Well, obviously, I didn't really know much of him before he got here. I knew, kind of who he was as a player and, coached against him. So there's things that when you spend a lot of time with people every day that, you get to learn about them, their personalities. And, I think that's what makes a team great. That's what makes, trying to bring a team together, especially guys that haven't been here or guys that just showed up this week, whether that be, Josh or Parker or Kyron Brown. Those guys we're trying to get, acclimated to how we do things.
So that versatility he has to play.
Head coach Mike Vrabel of the Titans speaking to the media before today's practice. Titans and Colts Sunday here at Nissan Stadium. All right, we'll get to some more Titans in a little bit, but coming up, we're going to talk a little Preds hockey. That's right, hockey season has started here in Nashville with the Predators. We're going to talk with our good buddy Robby Stanley from 102.5 The Game. Talk some Preds and a little Titans as well. Stay with us here on SportsLine.